Can you do a game without a jump? Of course you can, but I think you should know how to make your character jump. Jump is not a simple movement up and down, right? It is a push off the ground, which has force and acceleration, and then the object goes down because of gravity, not because we told him to do so. Therefore, we work with physics here. Let's take a look at this collider. We have created colliders for our swordman and the ground, but we have a problem. When we are in a plane mode, you see that our swordman doesn't stay on the ground. The colliders cannot cross each other. So I decide to delete this collider and create box 1. Okay, let's open our swordman, go to capsule collider, and remove component. All right. Now let's add another component, box collider 2D, edit collider. It should be just the way our character is, so that his legs can stay on the ground. All right. It's maybe too big. We have another collider for our swordman. And right now, if we turn on the plane mode, we see that our player is staying on the ground, but we still have this little line, because here is our ground collider, here's our character's collider, and they cannot cross each other. How he can push off to jump? I'll tell you. Let's go in our prefab and create a second collider. Like this. But it should have a part which is under our character's collider. And the next step is to select the second collider that we have done and find its trigger and check it. Trigger colliders are used as triggers, so they can and will cross other colliders. All right, let's check it in the plane mode. So you see that our character's collider does not cross the ground's collider, but the second collider is located inside the ground collider. So yes, it does cross it. The next step is to add a tag to the ground so that we can define it by its tag. Let's select our ground, find tag here, and add tag. And now we can simply select the tag ground from the list. All right, time to code. I use the same script because for me jump is the part of movement. First of all, let's create a variable which are going to help us with ground check. I remind you that serialize field makes a private variable visible from the inspector, but it remains private. Okay, let's create private variable type bool. Bool type means it can be true or false. The name is grounded and it is false. Next, we will use another function that Unity has. It is void, and it is called onTrigger enter 2D. This function is called when the collider others enters the trigger. We have a trigger on the second collider on our character, remember? Alright, so inside this function, we check if other we check if other collider has a tag ground by chance, and if so, is grounded true. Oh, and we need to edit it. We need to type other here. All right. So again, we take the other collider and check if this collider is tagged by ground, and then the object is grounded. And now vice versa. We add a function, the private void, the function onTrigger exit 2D. Again, other here, other, and I can simply copy it, copy, and this time false. OnTrigger exit 2D is called when the collider other has stopped touching the trigger. All right, we have our check-in. Let's go ahead inside the update function. We already have our right-left movement, and let's add something for jump. I will use the curly brackets because it's a good practice to always use curly brackets because it doesn't understand that we have more than one line inside it. We cannot do it if we have only one line after that, but it is best practice. All right, so get component. You can use these symbols if you'd like to add several conditions. So in this case, it means if this and this at once. First part here means if a user press the space button, the jump means space button. Again, you can check all these things inside the properties here. Again, edit, project settings, input. So if a user presses space button and the variable is grounded, which we have declared, is true. And this second condition saves us from endless jumps. Our character jumps only if he is grounded. The next part adds a force, where this is a direction of acceleration, and this is the instant impulse. You can change the number here and change acceleration that way. Let's save it, go back to Unity and check it. Okay, space bar. Yay! He's jumping. And if I want to, if I press the space while the character is in the air, nothing is happening. Because no endless jumps, only one jump from the ground. But of course, Maybe you need endless jumps. Maybe. So, right now, our sportman moves and jumps, which is great. But he looks too boring without animation. And it is waiting for you in the next lessons.